Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to another video on Beyond the Touchline. Now this will be a pre-game week show for Game Week 11, which is just going to happen around the corner with a lot of fixtures to go through, 10 as always every week. And we'll go through each fixture one by one and I'll give you guys a little bit of my predictions, so let's go. So here are the 10 fixtures that will be happening over the weekend. We've got Wolves, Southampton, West Ham, Everton, Brentford, Bournemouth, Palace, Fulham, Brighton, City, Liverpool, Villa, Man United, Leicester, Nottingham, Newcastle, Tottenham, Ipswich, Chelsea, Arsenal. Obviously, I think the biggest games 100% will be Liverpool Villa. That's the first one. And I think the second one, the second biggest one really, should be Chelsea and Arsenal. That would be a very interesting one just to wrap up. I think what would be a Super Sunday. And of course, just a quick recap of the table. Liverpool sitting on top, City second place, Nottingham Forest third, Chelsea wrapping up the top four, Arsenal, Villa fighting really heavily for the 5th and 6th place as well. Tottenham in 7th, which is pretty good if you ask me. Again, in the bottom 3, Ipswich, Southampton, Wolves. And with Wolves facing Southampton, that will be a really big game to kickstart the weekend. West Ham and Everton are really close together as well. That will be a very big game. Some really big games, I guess, considering the stature of the Premier League right now, you know, where it is right now in the Premier League. Some of these games do play a very big role. And of course, some games for some teams as well, it's going to be big for them because they've been performing really poorly and they want to do well in that game itself. So this is how the table looks like. And now we're just going to go through each fixture individually and I'll give you guys my predictions. So we'll start things off with Wolves and Southampton. Now, obviously, Wolves rock bottom, Southampton 19th. Southampton picked up their first win against Everton last game week. So this will be a very interesting one. Again, my idea has always been that Southampton are just not up there in terms of Premier League quality. I think the struggles are probably going to continue. Yes, I think confidence is going to be high going into this game against Wolves. Do I think Southampton are going to take it down to the wire with Wolves? Probably. I think considering how Wolves have been performing this season, it's not been fantastic either. In fact, I think arguably it's been really, really poor. So yes, it's going to be a really tight game in my opinion. But who I think is going to end up on top, I think it would probably be Wolves. I think O'Neill would finally break the deadlock in terms of getting their first win of the season on board. I think this has to be the game. You know, you need to beat a newly promoted side and use that really to your advantage, home advantage at the Molineux as well. I'm backing Wolves for this one. I'm going to say it's going to be a 2-1 win for Wolves against Southampton. Next up, we have West Ham and Everton. That will be a very interesting game as well. Obviously, Dyche lost on the game against Southampton last week. It's not really looking good for Everton again. They've always been up and down. It's just been the story of the past couple of seasons really with Everton. Again, what do I expect out of this game? I really don't know, to be honest. I feel that both teams are really going to try to fight. But do I think Everton are really going to trouble West Ham a lot? Probably not. And I think from West Ham's perspective, I think Lopetegui really needs to get things on board right now. He can't afford to continue with a little bit of a slump that he's been having. Like, to beat Man United in one game and then to lose to Nottingham in the next game. It's been a lot of yo-yoing. Again, the inconsistency coming into play. But how do I think they will fare against Everton? I mean, home advantage is definitely key for this one. And I feel that West Ham will probably end up on top as well for this one. And in fact, I think West Ham are actually going to win this game by 2-0. A clean sheet at the London Stadium. I think maybe a little bit too optimistic for that one. But I think West Ham would have the quality over Everton to at least get this game over the line for them. And unfortunately for Everton, I think the struggles are going to continue. Right, next up we have Brentford and Bournemouth. Bournemouth, obviously the famous win against City. Confidence must be high for sure, 100%. They must be going to this game, you know, with, I think, expectation that they could put it up against Brentford. Brentford, obviously, at the receiving end of a dramatic defeat against Fulham at the Craven Cottage. But I think these two teams are going to probably quite neck and neck. I think in some ways it's going to be quite tight between the two of them. I don't think a lot actually will be separating the both of them, although I could be wrong. I mean, these are predictions for a reason, right? But ultimately, I feel that it's not going to be very straightforward for both sides. I think both sides are probably going to knock each other on the door. I think a lot of possession loss, a lot of possession play is going to come in. A lot of ding-dong battles probably in the midfield especially. I think both sides are definitely going to break the deadlock in terms of goal scoring, but I don't think it's going to be a high-scoring game. And actually, if you're asking me, I think it's going to be a 1-1 draw for the both of them. So Palace and Fulham, Palace 17th in the table, struggling a lot. Fulham looks a lot brighter. They're doing pretty well this season with Marco Silva. and obviously the dramatic win against Brentford. It's crazy, isn't it? So, but I think Palace are probably going to continue to struggle. I think Arsenal may not still have been able to find the answer to some of the problems that they're facing at the moment, and I think Fulham are going to continue a certain trajectory moving forward. I think they're going to be quite the pain for Crystal Palace in this particular game. I think Fulham are going to continue to win, and I think Palace are going to lose. But I think it's not going to be very straightforward. I don't think it's going to be a simple game for Fulham. So I'm going to put it as a 2-1 win for Fulham. I think they're going to win, but maybe not as convincingly. But ultimately, a win is still a win. And I mean, 3 points in the bag away from home at Selhurst Park, I think is good for Fulham. But from a Palace's perspective, I think, yeah, again, the problems are still there, in my opinion. And Glasgow still needs to find a way to fix those problems. Right, Brighton and City. Brighton, obviously, the back of a defeat against Liverpool, which is probably expected from their point of view. Fair enough. City on the back of a really bad form. 3 games lost. If they lose this one against Brighton, it'll be 4 in a row, which would be detrimental, in my opinion, to City's hunt for the title this year. But do I think City are going to do better in this game? I think probably. I think Pep's probably going to change a couple of things. He might be moving back to the basics in some ways. I think less experimented, go back to what probably worked well for him and try to come into this game at least, with a really competitive team and maybe provide a really convincing result. Do I think Brighton are going to score first against City? I think probably. I mean, based on the record so far this season, a lot of the teams have been scoring against City first, especially domestically. And I think that's probably going to happen again. I don't see Brighton not scoring first somehow, which is quite funny to say, but I think City will have the upper hand. Probably. I predict, at least in some ways, I think Haaland's probably going to step up this game. I think Doku will have a great impact on the game. I think De Bruyne coming back in could be crucial in helping City get this game over the line. Might be a little bit of an optimistic result considering how the performances have been, but I feel like if there's a game for them to just bounce back and really get back to the way that way things were, this has to be the game really to beat Brighton, who are quite up there in the table and could even challenge them in terms of number of points if they do lose to them. So yeah, in my opinion at least, it's going to be a 3-1 win to Man City. Looks convincing on paper, but I think they're really going to have to fight for this result here. And yeah, this is me being slightly optimistic, considering the fact that I think City are probably going to go back to where things were. If I was to be pessimistic, I think it might be a draw. But I believe there is something that I can see in City this weekend, hopefully, that I think will get this result over the line and win this game. And again, hopefully, this bad run of form will eventually start to subside. But of course, don't get me wrong, I think Brighton would be a pain again. But yeah, I just feel that they may not be able to take it unless City performs terribly. I don't think Brighton stands a great chance of taking points off City. Liverpool Villa, Liverpool's trajectory, momentum, fantastic, skyrocketing. Villa's momentum, the opposite. 3 defeats in a row in all competitions. It's problematic for Villa. It's going to be difficult for Villa, this one, especially at Anfield, away from home. You can't really expect a result, really. I think it's going to be as convincing as it looks on paper. And I feel that Liverpool are really going to take it to Villa. I don't think it's going to be another 7-2 that happened a couple of years back. Oh, that's really slim. If that happens, then something must have happened in that game to make Liverpool just completely switch off. But otherwise, I think it's really straightforward for Liverpool. Villa, I think, in my opinion, have no choice to just try to fight to the best of their ability for this one against Liverpool. But they've got to accept that, or at least have to be mentally prepared that a crushing defeat is probably come their way, and I think it's going to be 3-0 to the Reds against Villa. I just don't see Villa scoring a goal against Liverpool, and I think Liverpool are really going to continue this really good run of form that they're having. And I think Villa will be their next opponent that they're probably going to smash. Next up, Man United Leicester. This one I think would be very interesting. Obviously, Ruud's first game was against Leicester in the Carabao Cup, the EFL Cup, and he won by 5-2. Maybe in the league, it might be a different story. Do I think United stand a chance of beating Leicester? Probably. I think they've just beaten PAOK as I'm recording this this morning, 2 goals to the good in the Europa League. It's another win for Ruud, and I think Ruud has done a reasonably good job so far. I think he is extracting a certain level of performance out of the team at least. Obviously his tenure as an interim manager is coming to an end, but he wants to obviously get as many points on board as possible, lay a really good foundation for Amorim to take over when he comes in. And I think against Leicester, obviously Leicester I think quality-wise, you can probably argue that United has a much better quality compared to Leicester City. Are Leicester City really going to take this fight to the line? Probably. I think they are probably going to trouble Man United a little bit here and there, but I think at the end of the day, it's going to be a win for Manchester United. I think they're going to win 2-1 against Leicester. Probably United will go up 1-0 up first. Leicester probably going to pull one back before United wrapping the game off with a 2-1 win. I think if it was to happen like this, I think it would be a considerably good game for Leicester. I think to fight in that manner is pretty good. And United, I mean, arguably expected to win, and they've won that game. And I think it would be pleasant amongst the Man United fans at least. Right, Nottingham and Newcastle. Now, first of all, I think, again, the talk about Nottingham Forest performing exceptionally well, I think that is still probably going to continue on. I think they're still going to come into games with high spirits, with a good fighting spirit, and with the intention to win games. And for Newcastle, obviously, the form of the season has been up and down, but the win against Arsenal, they were good in that game, 100%. I felt they were really positive in that game. They played some really good football. I think Eddie Howe should be proud. So I think this game would actually be pretty tight amongst the both sides. I think it would be very, very interesting. Newcastle away from home to the Forest ground, the City ground. Sorry, the City ground. It wouldn't be easy to, I'd say, beat Forest, but I don't see them losing. And because of that, actually, I think it would be a 1-1 draw. Nottingham Forest and Newcastle. I think it'd be quite a tight one. I think it can swing both ways. Do I think Chris Wood's probably going to score? Probably, to be honest. He might score the goal again for Nottingham. But do I see Nottingham winning this game? Yes, I 100% do. But I also do see Newcastle actually winning this game. So because of that, I think just to put it as a 1-1 draw, I think it would create quite an interesting game, at least from a fan's perspective. And yeah, I think Nottingham Forest charge for a good position in the Premier League is still going to continue. I think a 1-1 draw against Newcastle is still a really good result for them, and I think Nottingham Forest should take it. But again, if let's say due to root chances that they've drawn the game, they're going to have to reflect on that. But yeah, I think at least based on what I've seen so far this entire season, I think a draw, to me at least, makes sense from what I'm trying to understand of what's happening between the two sides so far across the season. As I said, because Newcastle's form has been up and down, it's really hard to estimate how they're going to do against Forest. Forest, yeah, the form's great, but I think just sometimes, you can't always expect them to perform week in, week out. So this is why a 1-1 draw has been my prediction. Right, next up, Tottenham and Ipswich Town. Now, I think talk about Tottenham first. The win against Villa, very convincing, obviously. And I think Anghe is going to take that into this game against Ipswich. I think going to be quite ruthless again, in my opinion. Do I think Ipswich have what it takes to fight against Tottenham? I'd say probably not. It's going to be a very difficult game for sure for Ipswich, and away from home as well. It's going to provide even more problems for them. I think for Tottenham's case, it should be convincing again, in my opinion. It should be a game that they know they're going to come in and they have to win for sure. Ipswich are just going to try to fight it to the best of their ability, but I don't exactly think that they're going to have the players or or rather the quality to even trouble Tottenham. Again, unless the game doesn't go to plan for Tottenham, it should be a relatively straightforward win for Tottenham, in my opinion. And actually, I think this would be quite a heavy scoring game for Tottenham again. I think it's going to be 4-1 to Tottenham this time around. Again, 2 wins in a row at home. I think, yeah, Tottenham Villa was at home. So, for 8 goals in 2 games would be quite the result I think Anghe would want. And I think in terms of what it does to their goal difference, it is going to be a very positive impact. But for Ipswich, I don't think they should take this game too much or be too disheartened if they lose by quite an amount of goals at least. I think they can take this, learn from it again, and try to be better in the next game. Ultimately, when you face top 6 sides, it's not going to be easy, isn't it? Especially when you're newly promoted side, all the more it's going to be tougher. But I think, as I said, Ipswich, all they can do is just keep trying every single game. And as I said, when there are games that they stand a chance of winning, I feel like they should have taken the chance. Again, the idea of how I felt like they could have beaten Leicester and they didn't, ultimately lost to a last minute, lost an equaliser. Leicester equalised in the last minute. So again, it shows that, when there are games to win, I think Ipswich will have to learn to take those games and make those games count. But in games like this against Tottenham, unless, they're able to somehow do extremely well, I just don't see them taking points off Tottenham in this case. And of course, to wrap up this game week, Chelsea-Arsenal, I think it's going to be a tight one. Arsenal's form, again, not necessarily at the best. Chelsea's performances are still relatively okay. I think this would be a tight one at Stamford Bridge. Home advantage for Chelsea. I think Arsenal are going to come into this game feeling a little bit wobbly. I think Ødegaard might start. I think if he's able to start at least. But do I think Ødegaard is going to perform? Maybe. I don't know. I would say not. I would still think it's going to take a little bit of time to adjust again. But who knows, right? I mean, these are predictions at the end of the day. You never know. Ødegaard might score a hat-trick. But I think it's going to be a blockbuster game for sure. 100% in my opinion. Actually, I feel like it's going to be a 2-2 draw between Chelsea and Arsenal. I think it's going to be a really intense game. Both sides neck and neck, neck and neck. I think probably Chelsea going to go 1-0 up first. Cole Palmer might score a goal or two. Jackson might score a goal or two. Saka, Martinelli, I think they might stand a chance, or even a defender might stand a chance. Arsenal going to park the bus in this game. I really don't know. I mean, they're really good at that based on what we've seen, especially when they play against City. But unfortunately, I think it's going to be drop points against for Arsenal. But I think it's going to be a really, really good game to watch if anyone's able to watch this. In my opinion, at least, I'm actually quite looking forward to this game. I think it could provide some really spectacular moments. But I think it's going to be a draw. And I think, you know, for Chelsea's perspective, I think it's not a bad result. But for Arsenal's perspective, I don't think it's a very good result considering that they're here to fight for the title this year. But that's how I think it's going to pan out for Chelsea and Arsenal. So that'll be it for today's video, guys. Ultimately, I didn't really talk too much for each game individually. Didn't really want to spend too much time. The whole purpose is that what these predictions are based on how the teams have performed throughout the season so far. Plus, how do I think, are they going to turn? Are things going to change for them? Or how I think that when the two match up, how I think they're probably going to perform against one another. Ultimately, these are predictions, right? And of course, when the final result comes along, then I'll do a reaction on that one and compare to my horrible predictions that you see on your that you have been seeing on your screen. But that'll be it for today, guys. Thank you very much for watching. Comment down below what you think the results are going to be for all of the fixtures. Or tell me actually which game you're looking forward to most. For me, at least, it's definitely Chelsea Arsenal. I think that would be a really, really good game. Of course, from a City fan, I hope City wins this weekend. Of course, I hope Liverpool drop points against Villa, but realistically, I think probability-wise, it's probably not going to happen. But we'll see what happens throughout this weekend. It should be very, very interesting. Hopefully, you guys have enjoyed this one. I'll see you guys next time. Like, share, and subscribe. Until then, goodbye.